Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I was up here working on some of my clay embellishments and I had a darling subscriber ask about, she was gifted some clay embellishments and she was asking about painting them, and I was letting her know that for me, I can show you real quick. Let me do this. Put these over here. The first thing I do is I put gesso on them, sometimes 2 coats of gesso, and then I just set them aside till I need them for a project. And because I don't usually get into painting them and everything else unless unless I'm going to use them. So I'm working on a rack for a friend who likes, this is the first time I've worked with black gesso, by the way, which is, excuse me, which is this one. I got 3 tubes of the Finnabar items, oh mercy, a few years back from Michael's. I think I used like a 60% off coupon on them or something, but anyway, and this was one of them. First time I opened it was for this. And another thing that I use, that I'll show you right now, is the Finnabar wax. This is the Opal Magic wax, turquoise satin. And on black, it does look turquoise, but on white, it has a different effect, which I thought was fascinating. And I can show you an example. Yeah, this is my mess. This is how this usually looks at this time of my project. Now this is a button, and I cut the back of it off, and this little fleur-de-lis, and that is painted 2 coats of black gesso, and then this wax put on my finger and just hitting the highlights. And that's what it looks like on the black. Isn't that gorgeous? I thought that was really pretty. I can't show you everything I've done, because if I do, the person this is going to is going to know it's her. Or she's going to highly suspect, let's put it that way. So I wanted to do, everybody does things differently. Sometimes people will put everything on at one time and then put the black gesso over everything and then do their paints and things like this. For me, I didn't want to do that because I wanted my background to look just so, which is what I've got. This is what I wanted it to look like, okay? And this is the black gesso, and then we've got the texture paste running through a stencil here, here, and here. These are little teeny tiny fake pearl circles that I've painted with the gesso, and I can show you on one of them what this wax looks like. So that's just a tiny bit, guys. That's why, sometimes you think, boy, I paid that for that little amount, but it doesn't take much, okay? And yeah, since everything's so little, at first it goes on white and you're like, my first thought was, what? No. Oh, I even put too much on there, guys. That's what I'm saying. Just a tiny, tiny bit goes a long, long way. And let me see if I can get this close enough for you guys to see the effect. And if it's too much, you can take a brush, or you can take a, since this is so tiny, I'm taking a toothpick to it to get the extra wax out of the little crevices here. Okay. I've always thought whenever you're painting or working with mixed media, it's best to have a baby wipe nearby And I've got some that are dry and some, yeah, I put too much on. You saw it. I just touched it. But this is so tiny. There we go. There we go. So that's how that one came out. I think that's cool. I really do. I love how that can happen. Except I still put too much there and there. Huh. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! And how it shows up on here. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So on with painting of the clay items. The only clay items I'm going to be having on this for now that I know of, so I've got metal items and others are leaves, several leaves, and then these roses. Now for me, and it all depends on you and your taste, for me, for me to do roses, it reminds me how I used to do them in fine art. So for me, even though this is 3D, in my head, and I started, now I'm gonna not go on with the way I had it done. Instead of doing all 3 of these, I'm just, for time-wise, I'm just gonna do this one, okay? This has several coats. This is Prima mold roses, and this is done in paper clay, and I've done 2 coats of black gesso on it, and then I got out, let's see, I'm using, in case you're wondering, I'm using these paints, okay? And hopefully you can see them. We're in purple, which I think that's lavender if you ask me. This is the purple if you ask me. Purple iris, hyacinth, and birch, amethyst. Okay, and let me turn these over so you can see the colors. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, this one being purple, I was like, really? Seriously? So, I will be working with this purple, though, because I'm going to have, again, for me, I'm going to have the petals right at the bottom remain black. And then I'm going to go in with purple, okay, and this is purple iris. I love irises, by the way. My art class in high school, we did irises. Painted them in watercolor. It was fun. Now, this is one of my, you can see, I've used it for years and years and years. And I don't even, the number, I've got pieces missing of the paint. But it's very small. And that's what I need to do my, my petals in. So first off, I'm going to go in, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Let me try to get more in the light. I'm going in like this. And again, I want to use the part of that black. Okay. Normally, I would tell you to squeeze some of that paint in here. Do not do what I'm doing, is what I would normally say. But I'm not going to be doing this to a bunch of flowers. If I was, then I would definitely not do this, because you're exposing this to the air and this to dry out on you. But I won't be long. Well, I shouldn't be long, let's put it that way. And then, so what I'm doing with the petals is you kind of just follow along in what I consider a crescent or a half, crescent moon shape. And I'm going to redo that, so that's fine, with the metallic one. Okay, but like I said, leave that, leave the black right at the bottom. At least I do. Now here's the thing, I can show you what I do, but I'm one who believes 100%. If you're like, well, I don't want mine to look like that, or I don't want that at all, I want to do sprays and everything like that, then, please, by all means, just ignore this, because this is how I do it. But a lot of people don't. They'll use sprays, they'll use watercolor, they'll use mist, paints that you can add things to and then spray them on. There's lots and lots of ways to go. There really and truly is. So, but I was asked to show what I do. This is what I do. I'm a real believer in don't copy 100% what someone else does, because then that takes your creativity and diminishes it. You've got to do your own thing. Now, there's a lot of people that can make suggestions and help in that way, but I think we should all do our, I do me, you do you. Because sometimes, especially with mixed media, even though we're all doing mixed media anyway, even with our cards and everything else, we're using gems and inks and paper, and we're using different mediums. So it's like, well, we're already doing it, but this is kind of taking it to a different level, because this tag over here is chipboard, but it's so it's still paper, but I did a whole bunch to it in order to put my paints on there and then use my water bottle and spray them down so they could run down the tag and stuff like that. I don't normally do that on my paper crafting. Not usually. Do you all have favorite brushes? I do, and believe it or not, one thing that's going to shock you, besides my my unicorn one that I showed you the other day, a lot of them are just cheap brushes, not too cheap, folk art brushes, I think, at Walmart, Now when it comes to these guys here, since they're turned up, again, I'm going to go close, but leave some of that black. Okay. I'm just going to show you with the paint, okay? You can get these waxes out, and once you have it like you want it, and put those on the highlights of the petals as well. There's so many different ways to do it, which makes it kind of exciting, I think. Okay, so that's the purple. Now, if I don't think it has enough on it, or that the coverage wasn't like I want it, like this one, then I'll go ahead and put a second coat there. You'll find that if you do a second coat where you already did it, it will, I personally think it looks better, but that's a matter of opinion. If you want it to look more like almost like a watercolor thingy rose, then you would do it just the one coat. And actually, you do the one coat and then you'd spray it down with water. I've done that before too. That's kind of fun. So, here we go. I usually don't show myself painting, but this subbie of mine is so precious. I thought I'd do it for her. When I paint and stuff like that, I get in I'm making myself talk because I get real quiet, and I don't know. It's kind of it's not only relaxing to me, but I take it very seriously. And as you all know, I giggle a lot on this channel, and I do so because I'm trying to have fun and trying to be as light as possible on this channel. I'm not going to tell you all my troubles, and every once in a while I might say, you know, I got a boo-boo, but I'm getting better, or something like that, you know. But I'm trying, because I like it, those channels that are staying kind of light, you know. It's pretty sweet. I personally gravitate towards them. Okay, now I do not have a bowl of water or a jar of water here this morning, so I use my spray bottle, and I have a baby wipe that is still wet. Here's one that's not anymore. I still use them. I keep going with them as long as I can. Okay, now that's this purple, and you all will know that when it comes to colors, I know I can do something. Normally I would add white to this for the next section, but I'm going to add, because it's not on my desk, with the white is almost always on my desk. So that's interesting. Let me look around and see if I put it behind me. No, that's cream. Interesting. But this is so light. This will be fine. But if you want it to be a true next shade to the rose, you would do mix white in with this. Where's my palette knife here? I was not rearranging the craft room, but I had to clean it, and I didn't do a great job of cleaning, and I had to move everything, and I have a little tiny, I don't know what you call it, drawers beside the desk that have, is that too light? Yes. that has my Dollar Tree little container on it that also has these, let me show you real quick. All of these goodies in it. And I knocked it over when I was moving the drawers yesterday, and I was like, no, because these were sprawled out all over the floor that I was trying to vacuum. Yeah, I like that better. That's way too much, by the way. You'll learn that I have a tendency to make too much, because for someone like me, to make too little and run out is just infuriating when you make your own color. If it was something from, you know, straight from here, I'd be fine. But when you're making your own, it's like, no, I need to keep that color. I'm trying to see if there's even one of my brushes over here that's even smaller, but no. Or even a line brush you can use on that, but I guess I'm going to have to use this one. Okay. So then what I do, we've got black going into purple, going into, I don't think I like that. I don't. Well, that was wasteful, wasn't it? But yeah, I don't like it. And if I don't like something, guys, excuse me, I am going to go over here and get my white, because I don't like that. It has too much red in it. And even though I have this one, it is still not tons of, because, you know, blue and red make purple, and I don't like it. So, I know that is a waste. That's not real cool. But if I don't like something, I won't be happy. You know? And if you're like me, when you're creating something, you won't be happy with it. Okay. I can always add more white, so just a dab or so. Okay, let's see what we get now. We'll probably like this one a lot better. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, and yes. Oh, yeah. Much, much, much better. And I'll just clean that off with my baby wipe for now. And I will clean this off as well. I don't need this sitting here beside me anymore. And yes, if you think you should normally have your water and a dry cloth nearby, I have the dry cloth, but I don't have the water, my jar of water. Okay. Was I 100% prepared? No. No, I wasn't. Okay, so then I'm going to go here. And even though you might think it almost looks exactly the same, because it does. Oh, man. Let's darken it a little. Okay. Let's see what happens. Should I darken it a little more even? Interesting. Just a dollop. There we go. Not much. Okay. See, I never know if I should mix everything first or do it here. Certain people like it done certain ways, but because this goes so long, but at the same time, I think, yeah, that's better. And then we can go like this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And every once in a while, I need my brush wet so that my bristles can be where I want them to be. And then we'll go here. It's early in the morning and the cars are already revving up. Wow. Interesting. And as you see, it will dry darker to where it's not so, not such a contrast, you know. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, the good thing about these acrylic paints that are the craft paints are they dry pretty quickly, but just in case, this is a Ranger heat tool, and I've used it before in my crafting, and everybody said, "Oh, that's so quiet." It is. It is a nice, quiet one. And then, what might surprise you is I'm going to use this one for, see how they're shaped, bristles, and to just kind of accent it in the metallic amethyst. Okay, let's do that. Pop that bubble. Okay. So as you see, I've already got it and didn't mess with it too much on these. I'm basically just tapping it in here. More of a dry brush. As you see, if you don't do it heavy-handed, and it almost looks like the real highlights of a rose right there, except for it being metallic. See how that's looking? Told you I get in this certain state when I paint. Some people are like, yay, she's not talking. Now, when it comes to these petals in here, you kind of got to approach it a wee bit differently with them. You can see how wide this is. Here, I skipped one, didn't I? And that's how we look. So you've got black, 2 shades of purple, and then to highlight it, metallic. Well, it's purple to amethyst. And these will get similar treatment as well, except they're not, I did not want them black first, but they'll get the same paint with a little extra white, and then a little less white. The same thing on these, but just on a smaller scale. And that's how I do the roses when they're when I want them to stick out differently from the rest of the project. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Take good care.